Welcome to Watch With Us. Watch With Us. An inside look into your favorite TV shows, which delivers the latest TV news that you want to know about. Here's your host.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Us Weekly's Emily Longeretta.
We didn't want to talk about Chicago Fire alone, even though, Steph, you are an amazing person to host with. I thought that we should have an expert call in, so why not Derek Haas himself? Derek, thank you so much for calling in.
I don't know if I'm an expert, but okay.
Well, I think if anyone would be an expert, it's you.
Thank you.
So this week's episode was obviously an amazing one. Once again, we got some high emotions going, but I want to start off talking about Cruz and Severide.
So adorable.
Because their bond is really, really adorable. Is that something that you kind of been growing? I know you tweeted a little bit about this, but can you talk a little bit about their friendship?
Yeah, so when we moved Cruz over to Squad, and I don't even remember what season that was, 3, I think. It was funny because Joe was really good friends with Yuri and with Charlie, all the truck guys, David. And then he realized, they work different schedules sometimes because we'll have a squad only alarm call and then we'll have a truck only alarm call. And he was like, oh man, I gotta Taylor and Randy and Tony, the squad guys, they play golf. I got to learn how to play golf or else I'm going to have nothing to do on the days off. And they started to get to be better friends. I mean, they were always friends, but they got to be tighter, which was, I thought, really smart of him from a help the show standpoint, because sometimes the chemistry between the characters comes out of the time they spend together, off.
Of course, yeah.
Set. So anyway, we just recognized that was going on, and last year we had this story where he was getting an award kind of concurrently with Taylor Severide being mad at Cruz, and then Severide showed up at the end of it and gave this heartfelt speech about what Joe Cruz meant to him, and so then we just had in the back of our heads was let's pay this off next season, and with Cruz and Chloe getting engaged, wouldn't that be nice if Cruz asked Severide to be his best man?
It was a really sweet scene.
Yeah, it really was, and I feel like it's a nice way to. It was a nice way to also bring up Otis again. I think you've done, and the writers have obviously done such a nice way of kind of sprinkling him throughout the season.
Yeah, I said it at the beginning of the year. This wasn't going to be one of those where a death of a character happens and then we just push on and we pretend it didn't happen. It's really affecting a lot of things, and it continues to throughout the season.
Yeah, for sure. So when are we going to see this wedding? Is this going to be this season? Is it going to be sooner, later?
It'll be this season. It'll be in the back half, probably the back third.
Okay.
I can't say it's going to be the winter finale. It's probably going to be sooner than that. And we have, we've done a number of weddings on the show in different places.
Yeah.
We've had wedding at Molly's, we've had wedding at the courthouse, we've had wedding at Firehouse 51. So we got to come up with something different.
A little Zumba maybe before the wedding.
Yeah, maybe a Zumba wedding. There you go.
By
the way,
love Joe.
Christian and David were, after they read the script for this episode that aired this week, they were like, excuse me, why are we not the best men?
I was going to say, they were like, I feel like it's tough because they're such a big family. It's like, well, they're all kind of the best men. Let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
So I want to talk a little about, obviously we're going to get into the winter finale because there's big news surrounding that. But before we get there, Stella and Severide are taking some steps forward. I feel like every week they're getting stronger and stronger, and he's really proving that he's living up to his "I'm going to be the boyfriend you deserve" line.
That was such a good quote.
Oh, so
my
God. So obviously there's some changes coming for both of them. So where do we see them going forward?
I said this before, and I meant it. They're in a good place. They're he did mean that when he said that. I think that in that moment last season, towards the end of the season, when he kind of glimpsed life following in Benny's footsteps or trying to change himself and be a better person, and especially for her, and finding the woman that he could see himself with in the future. We meant it. We didn't want it to be that's just Severide being Severide, and he goes back to it. And so I'm really happy with the way they've grown this season, and he's a supportive guy, and I think that works, and it actually does fit the Severide. Maybe it's not the Benny Severide model, but it's, there's hints of that all along with Severide's character.
For sure. Steph actually pointed out a tweet that she saw and wanted to ask you about.
So last month you had tweeted, they won't both be at 51 before the winter break. And you were talking about Severide and Casey. And fans were kind of going a little crazy about that.
Oh, they were?
Yeah, well, we actually were looking this morning. We were like, oh my gosh, their reaction to that was pretty crazy. I missed it. Steph found it. I was like, oh my gosh, we got to ask about that.
Well, it's, I tell the truth on Twitter. I don't know what anybody is always complaining about. But yeah, you're going to see a storyline develop in the next episode. It starts in the next episode. And that statement will come true. They won't both be there by the time we get to the winter finale. What that means going forward, I can't tell you.
Okay, well, I guess thank you for not answering the question. But I understand. But I guess
I owned up to it.
Yes, you did. Yeah. I guess that is a good segue into the winter finale and the news that came out yesterday that Monica Raymund is returning.
Dawson
is back. Coming back. I know we've talked about this multiple times that you anytime you get the chance to bring her back, you would. So how did this one come about?
I pitched it way back in June to Dick and Peter and Arthur, the triumvirate that makes up Wolf Films. And I just said, here's an idea for the winter finale. I'd really like to get Monica to come back for it. And they were very supportive from the jump. And then I kind of held on to the information because you just don't know if your stories are going to end up being what you imagined back in June as you start to write them out and you break out 9 episodes, but that one held. And so then I just texted Monica probably 2 months ago and just said, hey, winky face, would you like to, can you come back for the winter finale? And it's hilarious because she's like, you're nothing if not persistent. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. That's how I am. But, I try to catch her. You try to catch them at the right time. And I appealed to her saying, look, George Clooney came back to ER. You don't have to,
Oh my gosh.
You don't have to, this doesn't have to be a major commitment. Just tell me what you can do and we'll work it out. And anyway, she was game for it. And it was awesome having her back on set. And I can't wait for everyone to see the episode.